The clock on the restaurant wall ticked louder than usual. Every passing second echoed in Daniel's mind as he stared at the empty chair across from him. The candles flickered gently, the soft jazz in the background hummed like a lonely tune, and his untouched glass of wine reflected his face, hopeful, then disappointed. He had been waiting for 45 minutes. 45 long, awkward minutes, pretending to scroll through his phone while the waiter passed by with polite sympathy. It wasn't just another date, it was supposed to be the date, the one that might change the course of his quiet, solitary life. He had almost convinced himself to leave when something unexpected shattered the stillness. The restaurant door burst open with a gasp of cold night air, and two little girls, no older than 6, ran in. Their matching blue dresses torn, faces streaked with tears and dirt. They were identical, trembling and clutching each other's hands. Every head turned. Daniel stood up instinctively, his heart pounding. Before he could react, one of them ran straight to him, grabbing his arm with tiny, shaking fingers. "Please!" she cried out, her voice breaking. "They beat our mom! She's dying!" Before we continue this unbelievable story of fate and courage, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes, because real-life miracles deserve to be shared. Daniel froze, his breath caught in his chest. "What? Who are you talking about?" The girl clung tighter, eyes wide with terror. "She said your name. She said Daniel. Help us, Daniel." He blinked, confused. His name? He didn't know these girls. He glanced toward the restaurant door. Outside, through the glass, he saw a shadowy figure of a woman collapsed on the pavement. The faint glow from a streetlight illuminated her, long hair falling over her face, one arm limp, and blood staining the edge of her white blouse. Daniel didn't think twice. He ran. The girls followed, crying. The crowd murmured behind him as he knelt beside the woman. His hands trembled as he turned her over, and the world stopped spinning. It was her, the woman from the dating app, the one who never showed up. Her name was Claire. "Claire! Hey, can you hear me?" His voice cracked with panic. She was barely conscious, whispering his name like it was her last breath. "Daniel, I didn't mean to be late." He swallowed hard, pressing his hands on the wound at her side. "Don't talk. Stay with me, please." She coughed weakly, and through the blur of streetlights and tears, he saw the fear in her eyes. They came for money I don't have. My girls. Your girls are safe," he said quickly. "They're right here." The twins clung to his arm, their sobs mixing with the distant wail of sirens. Moments later, the ambulance arrived, its lights painting the night red and blue. Daniel rode with them, holding Claire's cold hand the entire way. The paramedics worked frantically, and he could only sit there, a stranger who suddenly felt like he had known her all his life. At the hospital, time lost meaning. The girl sat curled up beside him, exhausted, while he paced the waiting area. The police arrived to take statements, and Daniel explained everything he knew, which wasn't much. The twins' story was hauntingly simple. 2 men had broken into their home, demanding money their mother didn't owe. When she refused, they hurt her, and the girls had run, barefoot and terrified, searching for help. Claire had told them to find Daniel, but why him? Hours later, as dawn light spilled through the windows, a nurse approached. "She's stable, but she's asking for you." Daniel entered the room quietly. Claire looked fragile, her skin pale against the white sheets. But when she saw him, she smiled weakly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't want our first meeting to be like this." He managed a broken laugh. "You have a strange sense of timing." She closed her eyes, tears slipping down. "When I matched with you online, I thought you were too good to be true. I was scared to meet. But when those men came tonight, all I could think about was your name. I told my girls to find you. I didn't even know why, just something told me I could trust you." Daniel felt his chest tighten. "You did the right thing." She looked over at the twins through the glass window of the ward. "They're all I have. Their father left before they were born. I've been fighting everything alone for so long." Daniel sat down beside her, taking her hand gently. Not anymore. Her eyes widened, uncertain, hopeful. "I don't know what brought you to me," he continued softly, "but maybe sometimes fate doesn't show up on time. Sometimes it shows up when you need it most." Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a constant presence in their lives. He helped Claire recover, brought the twins breakfast before school, and even learned to braid their hair. Terribly, but they giggled every time. The house that once echoed with fear now began to fill with laughter. Still, Daniel couldn't shake the memory of that night, the desperation in the girl's eyes, the way fate had twisted what was supposed to be an ordinary blind date into something far greater. Then, one evening as they sat together on the porch, Claire turned to him with tears glistening in her eyes. "You didn't have to stay." He smiled gently. "I didn't stay out of obligation, Claire. I stayed because that night, those girls didn't just save you, they saved me." She frowned slightly, confused. Daniel looked out at the sunset. I'd been living a quiet, empty life. Work, home, repeat. I'd forgotten what it felt like to be needed, to belong somewhere. That night, when those girls called my name, I felt alive again. For the first time, she reached for his hand. Maybe we both needed saving. The twins ran out, laughing, their dresses fluttering in the wind. "Mommy, Mr. Daniel, look! Double rainbows!" They all looked up. 2. Perfect arcs of color stretched across the sky. Twin rainbows, shining over their little world. Before this story reaches its final beautiful note, if this moment touched your heart, take a second to like, share, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Let's keep spreading stories of love, hope, and courage. Months later, the restaurant where it all began had become their favorite family spot. The twins would insist on sitting at the same table, laughing about how Mom almost met Daddy there. Daniel and Claire would exchange shy smiles, the kind that hold entire futures in them. Life had brought them together through chaos, through fear, but also through an invisible thread of destiny that neither could explain. Because sometimes, the love you're waiting for doesn't walk through the door with flowers and a smile. Sometimes it runs in crying, with tiny hands and desperate hearts, to show you that even broken beginnings can lead to beautiful forever stories. And that night, when the candles flickered again on that same table, Daniel whispered a quiet thank you to fate for the blind date that never showed up until it truly mattered.